Hi.
Hi,
Could you tell us your name?
my name is Barbara.
Nice to meet you, Barbara.
Thank you. Nice to meet you folks.
Yeah. When did you move to Greenhills?
My family moved here in 1937, early 1937.
How old were you then?
You know, I'm going to change that date. That date should probably, well, I'm going to leave it at 37. I was just about a year old. I was born in 37, so I probably should change that date to 38 when we moved here, because I was a very young toddler. I have pictures of that.
So, what did your family move in Greenhouse? Why did your family? Have your parents told you?
Mm-hmm. My family was from Hartwell. And Hartwell is not very far from here. And of course, like other young married people that's struggling, and this became the best financial situation because it was, you know, cheap living. Arranged housing, very nice.
Okay, you have mentioned your family, before your family lived in Greenhouse. Where did your family live? You have mentioned that. So, what neighborhood in the Greenhouse? You know?
We lived at Ashby Street in the A block, and we lived there for, after we moved, we were on Farragut Road for a short while till we could get into a house. And that was 25 Ashby Street, and stayed there probably 1947, 48. My brother was born.
Probably 10 years.
No, we were there longer than that because my twin brothers were born in 49, say 1950.
What was your house looks like?
It was in the court on Ashby Street, and it was this one up here on the left, top left. There was a playground back here. Backyard was on Avenel. There were houses on Avenel, but backed up to it.
So, you were born in Greenhouse, nearly. Born in Greenhouse. That's exciting things. So, what did your parents do? Their job?
My father worked for, I believe at that time, Cincinnati Gas and Electric.
Okay.
My mother stayed at home like all mothers of that time.
Housewife.
I have a brother 2 years younger than me,
But need to babysit.
and then there were some more kids.
Right. So, I believe in your childhood memories there must have many activities in the greenhouse. You know, what activity in greenhouse you participate?
It was wonderful living here. There's this group of us that still get together for lunch every other month, and a variance of ages. Some of those guys are graduated in 62. I graduated in 55. And you know, we spent an hour and a half talking about Greenhills. We seldom get off on anything else. Just recalling people and places and things that happened. Memories, well, we had that playground right here. There weren't a lot of school activities. We walked back and forth to lunch every day.
Yeah.
We cut through the woods. Have you ever heard of that path through the woods? Okay. And then went right back. A block, very seldom, we're just finding this out, very seldom did A block go to B to get together. Is that not strange?
It's not.
Because we were at school together. In the summer, there was a swimming pool.
Yeah. So Olympics dance.
And so you saw these people every day in your regular life. So very seldom did A go to B. And if you'll even talk to B people, they probably would say that. And it was not that far, you know. Andover came here, and here's Burley, and easy enough, but just didn't do that.
I believe work back home and work to school is the best memory of your school life.
Yes.
So, tell us about your friends when you go to school or back home.
Well, not everybody went home at lunchtime, but we all walked together in the morning and then the afternoon. There were some after-school scouts, I want to say, and a few things that kept some of them there longer. I was a brownie, but I was not a Girl Scout. There just wasn't a lot of, but people didn't know what they wanted to do yet either. Keep in mind, not that a program was offered, nobody knew what they wanted to do. These are all new people to this community, so they didn't know what to expect, and remember, this was an early settlement, so there weren't other fashionable ones around to take from, to know what to offer the town folk.
Okay. So, after 10 years living together, you must be familiar with each other. It's not new anymore,
no.
Right?
I am in touch with probably, well, let's see, about 5 years ago, I put together a 60th reunion. I had to go all over to get the addresses and everything. We had a 50-year reunion and a 60-year reunion. Fewer at the 60, less help because a couple of those people had passed away that could have helped me. But it was very successful. Both of them were really lots of fun.
Yeah.
I could tell you today probably where my classmates are.
Oh.
All 50.
All 50s? Oh, you can remember all of them?
Oh,
That's
know their
amazing.
name. Connie would know the same thing. Because we're in touch. Yeah, I could probably tell you where they are.
So, did you play mostly with your own gender or in mixed group? Can you remember that?
I'd say, well, a couple of those friends were younger than me. You know, in 1950, they were selling these places, and my father elected not to do that. And we moved over to Damon Road. Those were the separate houses, just over there. And that was all different people because we didn't know a lot of those people. Again, we were established over here, but then when we got over here as a family unit, we didn't know a lot of those people. But they had school-age kids that we went to school with.
Okay, so it means your life sphere is much smaller and limited with several friends.
Yeah, the greater people were over on the A block, and then over here there were less. But here's the other thing. I was now a freshman in high school, so my friends weren't, they were just a different set of, and it was a different time in my life. I wasn't seeking childhood friends now. Now I'm over here.
Okay. So let's go to another question. What's your favorite place you'd like to go after school?
I went home.
Just went home?
Mm-hmm. You know, my mother had, as I also spoke about, this brother 2 years younger. 6 years later, my mother had another child, and then another child, and then twins. Well, when she had those twins, I got one of those twins. I took my sister Janet every afternoon when I got home from school. I took her for a walk. That's just the way life was.
Yeah. The other interesting I noticed that your friends is not only limited in your class. Yeah. It's maybe in the whole Greenhills, in the whole high school. That's interesting. Is that before you enter the high school, right?
No, I did not know a lot of those until I got to high school. But now in high school, now you're getting into musical groups. We had volleyball. We had noontime volleyball. Inside we had, well, and then there were all the sporting events. Then you begin to get into baseball, football. So your group of friends, they were now all high school people.
Okay. So actually high school is just like a big party, lets you know many different people living in Greenhills. Yeah, that's interesting. Talk about after the Greenhills. Do you think what's the relationship between Greenhills and Cincinnati? Do you go Cincinnati very frequently?
Now? Then?
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, there was a bus line. It was called the Ohio Bus Line. And it came here 3-4 times a day.
Okay.
And my grandmother lived in Cincinnati, and my mother, an only child, would take my brother and I on that bus. Oh, those buses stunk because they used that horrible fuel. And downtown to the bus station, which is now gone. You probably know that.
Why do you go to Cincinnati?
But we used to go downtown a lot to visit my grandma. My grandmother never came out to our house much, but we went down. And you know, we didn't do a lot of activities in Cincinnati either. But times were different, and there weren't a lot of them.
Do you need to find a job or an internship in Cincinnati?
My father worked in Cincinnati.
Okay. How about you? In high school, yeah.
I did not go to work until I graduated from high school, and I went to work at Cincinnati Bell Telephone, and I stayed there for maybe 5 years. And then I was pregnant and I couldn't work anymore. How antiquated is that?
Right.
And then I got married right out of high school.
Yeah. So when you got married, you moved out from the Greenhills, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Actually, in January, I graduated in June of '55. In January of '55, my father bought a place up in Mason, Ohio. We sold Damon Road, and he bought this house in Mason. And it was kind of in the country. And he took me back to work. He took me back to school here so I could finish Greenhills from January to June. And then, because we already lived in Mason, when I married, I stayed in Mason for 20 years.
Oh, what's the difference between your residence in Greenhouse and your residence in Mason? Is there
Well, Mason was country then. It wasn't Kings Island then. It was very country. And I had married into a family that was from that area, and they were rather country people.
Okay.
But you know, even though I lived in Mason, I kept some contacts from my schoolmates.
Yeah.
And the distance was great then. Not now, but it was.
So,
you know.
Can I understand that the high school student in Greenhouse is much important than the neighborhood?
Yes.
Yeah. The relation, you're getting closer relation with your classmates in high school.
You know, I call Greenhills the womb, W-O-M-B, because we were so removed from other areas. Remember, this was a trial deal here.
Yeah.
You know, this big movement to put this village together.
Exactly.
We needed one another, and we were only aware of what was going on here. There's a gal who's passed away, Peggy Redger. She went on to nursing school.
But
She was stunned at nursing school.
Okay. But Greenhouse was a planned community. Do you think it was used as the planners intended? Do you think
Absolutely.
the plan worked?
It worked.
Yeah. Okay.
Have you looked into the one in Wisconsin? Okay.
What I want to know is what your life looks like, not only in the high school, but in the normal life. Could you please introduce the occasion for us?
Don't you love it?
Before you came in, you're very interested, it seems, yeah.
I can't believe it. My mother would have had, ours didn't look like that. Ours was a little bigger. But how we would have kept milk and all that food in there. I even remember how that was all set up and everything. I remember these handles. Oh my God, that's just exactly how they were. Our legs were black.
Oh, okay. See, it's all set up like this.
No, when you came in, this was down here. Refrigerator was over here. And then we had and then you came here and there was countertop. We had a door over here that went into the dining room because we had a dining room.
Oh.
Now remember, this was a house that was supposed to house quite a few children.
Yeah. So there are totally 4 family members in your room, right? You, your brother, your parents.
There was the four of us. And then my mother had, I kept it. Then she had these next four children.
Okay.
In that house.
In that house. How many rooms?
3 bedrooms.
3 bedrooms.
Now, my brothers and I are still trying to work on how we slept. Our middle brother, Jerry, has been gone for 25 years, and we can't figure out how we all slept. We still laugh about it. Who slept where and with who? But my twin brother and sister slept in the living room downstairs. They took part of that living room and put those cribs in there. Then Grandma comes to live with us.
Oh, there's a...
Which is another reason my dad didn't buy that house and went over here, because Grandma was with us.
I guess the family reason is the most important reason that forced you to move out from the greenhouse.
Yeah, we were okay over here because we had 4 bedrooms now.
Okay.
But it was still crowded, and then my grandmother passed away, and then that gave us 1 more bedroom, and we stayed there until I said 55.
Okay. So let me say, you in your childhood you have experienced World War II, but it's too young for you. Do you have any memory about the World War
Just
II?
vague, very vague. What are the war years are you using? 40?
Yeah, 40s.
Well, I was only 3 years old. But I remember a few years after that. I don't remember the actual part of that, but I remember the remnants of it. You know, people come. My father was not military. And I remember people coming home.
Coming home for what?
From war.
For war. Mm-hmm. To encourage your father to attend as a soldier, or?
No, he didn't serve.
Okay.
But I just remember people's fathers coming home, I guess.
Okay, discuss the war scene, the events.
But there was not much given in school about that war because, well, actually, history hadn't accumulated yet.
Right.
It was going on, and they hadn't really deciphered it all out and how to tell school kids. As we got older, there was, of course, introductions to it, but not young. Well, how horrible it must have been if you'd had to tell young children, too. I wouldn't have been ready for it.
Okay. So, did any man you know go to the war around you? Your neighbors?
I have an uncle that was 15 years old when I was born. He lived with a family then in Hartwell. He joined the Marine Corps.
Okay.
Oh, I remember that. That was very, very big. He's a handsome young man and thin, and in that military uniform, he stands up there like this. Oh, I just remember that uniform. He's since passed away. Obviously.
Yeah. So, war's memory seems pretty good for you. It's looks not bad. And what did the woman do while men were away? You say your mother doing your room.
Well, of course, my father not being military, her life went on. I would have been too young to realize other families' situations while the man was gone, just as they were the happy coming home, I guess. But I can always remember stories about companies doing military work. That tin can business, that's a real reflection of what every family could do. Little enough, but could do that. I can't remember. I wish I could. Well, I was 8 years old when I had my first memories of my uncle being in the Marine Corps.
So
he would have been, he would have been, if he's 15 years older than me and I was 8, so he would have been about 22, 25 years old. And I remember him.
Do you still have any?
You know where he was?
What?
He was on the USS Missouri when they signed the peace treaty.
Oh.
My cousins have a lot of memorabilia from him.
Okay. So, how will men impact once they return? How was your uncle?
Well, I don't know. I don't have any visions of that.
Have no change before when he go to.
When he left his
back?
family and came back, I would not have been aware of that.
Okay.
Oh, I better not.
It's okay if you guys.
No.
Okay.
It's okay.
Yeah.
It's almost cold anyhow.
Do your mom allow you put any cup on the oven? I mean, on the
Allow me to
kitchen?
cook?
Yeah.
No, my mother did it all. When I got married in 1955, I didn't know the first thing about cooking.
But too
That-
many people in your room, in your house, you know, you need to do a lot of things to help your mom.
She wasn't that kind.
Okay.
It's not how she was. She's mother, I will do it all.
Oh, you have a good mom.
Well, was that good?
I must say that. I must say that. I must say that. Okay. In your childhood, in the World War II, there's a war called shortage in goods. Called shortage.
Did it what?
Shortage. You cannot buy things. Yeah. You cannot
Like
buy goods.
rationing.
Milk, yeah.
I don't-
Wartime rationing.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. I remember you couldn't get women wore stockings, rayon stockings, and you couldn't get them. I don't know what they were using the fabric for, but
So do you remember black oil drills or other preparation for the war?
no.
No, there's
No. Now go back again, I would have been about 5, 6, 7 years old maybe during some of that, no. There's a lot of secret stuff going on then. You know, they wouldn't want to tell children. We did have a newspaper.
So how you know the news from outside, except the greenhouse? How you get the informations?
A radio.
Radio.
And I remember sitting and listening to the radio. I remember one evening my mother fixed mock turtle soup, which is poor man's, because it's made with ground beef, not turtle stuff. And I didn't want to eat it, but my family was one of these that, yes, you are. So I told my dad I didn't want to hear the radio. They were listening to the radio while they left us sit so we would eat it. And I said, can I close this door? I don't want to hear the radio. So I snuck with my soup out to the kitchen sink and poured my soup down the drain. Certainly didn't flush it down the drain, you know, because they'd have known or heard the water. So they came out and found me, and I had to go to bed that night with no dinner. But they were listening to the radio. Radio about this tall.
For the
Brown
politics
wood, brown wood.
informations, to gather politics information.
But you know,
but not entertainment. Yeah.
yeah, it was kind of, we must have had some comfortable times because we had decent living room furniture. We had decent dining room furniture. Let's see, my sister is now 70. When yeah, that's about right. There's a picture of her sitting at the dining room table. And, you know, there would have had to have been, I guess, 6 or 7, 8 chairs around that table. But the radio I remember. My brothers do too.
Okay. So when you move out from the greenhouse, when you married, what's the exact specific?
When did I move?
Yeah.
When my family sold the house over here, we moved to Mason, and that was 1955. And I did, like I said, I went on to go to school here till June. My dad brought me back every day. And then I married and stayed in Mason for 20 years.
Do you have keepsakes from growing up in Greenhills? What are they?
Do I have what?
Keepsakes.
Keepsakes.
Oh, yes.
Tell me more.
Yeah, I have bags of this stuff. Upstairs in the alumni room are my Spalding saddles. And that Spalding is a pretty important word. It's a kind of saddle shoe. And yes, I have lots of stuff. And I can't tell you that they are the actual item, but they would be pictures of or something like that.
What do you keep these things and no others?
You know what? I am 80 years old, and I do not know what my siblings are going to do with all of this Greenhill stuff. And I plan to do something about that. We are having lunch on March 27th at the Century Inn. Want to come? Over on Springfield Pike. And I am going to tell these people, there'll probably be 6 or 7 people, that when I die, my family is to call that person, probably Larry Zettler, and tell him that they got some stuff at my house he needs to come and get. Because, you know, the stuff that I have is probably already in here, some of those books, and probably upstairs. But I can't throw it away. There's no way. There's no way.
You see, you moved in 1937 and moved out in 1955. It's compared with your 8 years life. It's just a decade year, 10 years for life in the greenhouse. But do you think it is important for life? What's the impact for your life?
It was my formation. It was all I knew. I know what friends are. I know what school friends are, that you must cultivate that and not separate from them, which is why we still have lunch. That's why I could get a 50 and a 60 reunion together, because those people still want to see me. You know what my favorite saying is? I don't know if they want to see me as bad as I want to see them. They could probably live without me, but I need to know how they are. The ones that I am still in touch with. My friends are not disposable.
Uh-huh.
How about that?
Yeah.
Just always forever.
Miss Osuna described you as her best friend.
Who did?
Miss Osuna.
Connie, of course we are. And her birthday's coming up on March 25th.
But you two's character has many differences. Why do you think you two can be best friends? What things lead you?
Well, because she lived right over there when you came through the woods.
Huh?
And I don't know what I don't know what that was, but we just clung.
Okay.
Her husband worked at the company where my first husband worked. I'm in with all of her family, aunts, uncles, cousins, in her wedding. I have never known another girl like her. I have never. And you know, she just, I'm not a bit surprised she would say that about me. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
And I love her brother, Larry. He's a part of the package deal, you know.
Yeah.
They have a sister, which I've never been real close to the sister, but Larry, yeah.
Are there things you miss about growing up in Greenhouse? What
No.
are they?
No, it gave me everything I needed.
Okay.
I couldn't think of anything that I would have needed that I didn't get.
Okay.
My mother was ill sometimes in Greenhills, and my mother was not a very outgoing, friendly person. Her young life was not so hot. But I wish my mother and dad would have had it, but they didn't want for anything. I probably wanted more for them, for their life, than what they wanted themselves. I'm kind of pushy. I think I know what I want for you, but you may not want it.
Yeah.
I think I know better than you.
Yeah, you are. Before that, we came here. Miss Osman said you are so intelligent, and so you see person with.
God is good to me.
Yeah. What was the downside of growing up in?
What was one of the what?
Downside.
Downsides.
None. Absolutely none.
Okay.
No. No. I just, my needs were met.
It's okay. It's okay.
Connie was Catholic and I wasn't. Did she say that about me? No. Okay, because here's the funny part. When they built that church over there, I was so curious as to what went on in there. I went to the Presbyterian church. And I never asked her, but I was always curious. And what, about 30 years ago I became Catholic, so now that's different. But no, Greenhills was just be all end all. We had one of the first televisions in Greenhills when we lived on Ashby Street. Mr. Williams was the mayor, and my father had to go and ask if he could put that aerial on that chimney. Not too many people had televisions, and they gave him the okay, and my father had someone come and do it. You know, the big ones that went every which way. And then on Friday night, my father would take the desk, which a television set, a big thing, and turn it around and put it in front of the screen door that went out on the patio, and everybody in the neighborhood came to watch wrestling. Don Eagle had a mohawk hairdo. People remember that.
In 50s, 1950s.
Well, maybe a little earlier than that. Maybe 47, 48.
Yeah. To be honest, I really haven't. You really know better than me about mine and about the greenhouse. So I will leave you enough time. Is there anything you'd like to add that we haven't talked about?
No, I think you've hit on it all. I'm not. Have you gotten into anything about when the Greenhills sold? Mm-hmm. Okay, because I have a friend who lives where I do now, and her family was involved in that.
Okay.
Mr. Russell.
Yeah.
Okay, because they have info too. But oh, you know what? I think you've talked to somebody named Russell. Maybe
Yeah,
in
so
Washington,
one
D.C.
director in the Historical Society. His name is Russell.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Do you have any memories of the Cold War while living here? Because you were here in the early 50s too.
Yeah. No.
The Cold War is.
But you know why? Again, I'm going to tell you, my life was rather, I mean, the information that was given was selective. And then in 1955, when I married, lived in Mason, I had worked for a few years. But you know what? There was so much I don't know and can't remember because, you know, I would give you the excuse that I was busy raising my family. Well, come on. 2 kids is not like 6 or 8 kids. But you know what? I didn't put my mind to any of that. I lived up there with my, all surrounded by these, Mason was country then, and they probably weren't into it. My first husband, I met him in 1955, and he, 2-3 years prior to that, was joined the, before I knew him, joined the Marines. And he was stationed out in California. He had a health issue. And he was, after so length of time, 2 or 3 years, he was, got a honorable discharge, health, discharge. And I don't remember any of the family ever talking much about. Now my family became the Robinson family that I married into. My family lived in Cincinnati, which wasn't all that far, but it was then. And so this new family that I married into, they did not talk much about that. They wanted their kid home because he was ill, not so much on the military merits, but because he was ill. And he had a asthma and a lung issue. But nothing more than that. I can't think who our history teacher was then. Did anybody give you that? In high school, I don't even, was that Mr. McDermott? Or, who, I mean, I know who the English teacher in All Animals wrote. I can't think who the, like the geography teacher was. Maybe that was Mr. McDermott. But there wasn't a lot of talk about that. You know what? Every now and then I catch something on TV about it. And here I am at this age just learning that. But that's okay. Your kids aren't even going to know anything about it anyhow.
But as you said, history was unfolding, right? So
it was
wasn't
happening.
the same way, yeah.
And they didn't have it all together yet. So what could they tell?
Sure.
And what did they want to tell?
Can we reveal to your family? Reveal your family. What's your father's and mother's name? Could you tell
My
us?
father was George Marvin, Rouff. He was a business thinking man. My mother was Evelyn Elizabeth, and she was a Macintosh before Roof. I have done my family history on them. Like I said, my mother didn't come from such good beginnings. My father came from a very nice family. I am my grandmother. My grandmother was special, and she made me special. So. She lived to be 79 years old, and that's all I ever wanted to do was to live to be 79 years old. And I just celebrated my 80th birthday on Thanksgiving. So I made it! I made it! And she was not ill, and I am not ill, so it was good. And they lived in this little town called Hartwell, and they had a nice life. She just was everything I wanted to be, and hopefully I have become.
Okay.
I have a brother. There was me, Barbara. There was a brother, Jerry, 2 years. Then the next brother is Don. He was 6 years later. Then within a year, there was a sister, Linda. And then my mother had this boy and girl twins in 49. And then she had one more child that didn't live. And for a poor little girl who come from a broken home and all this other stuff, she was overwhelmed with all these kids. I would be too.
Before we wrap up, you mentioned that you called Greenhills the womb. Can you maybe elaborate on that?
You know why? It was so protected. That's just how it was planned. They gave you everything you needed in that womb. You had all the shopping you needed. They even brought a bus to take you here. You didn't have a want. And not only that, you had a swimming pool. When my friend Peggy went to nursing school at Christ, she was taken back with black students. She was just overwhelmed that there would be black students. That's how separated. When my mother was ill several times when we lived on Ashby Street, my father went to what was then called the United Way or Community Chest. But anyhow, every day a lady came from Cincinnati on that same bus, stayed all day so my father could go to work and we went to school, and then at 5 o'clock she went back. I can always remember my father saying to her, "Was there any trouble today?" My father was worried that she was coming out of her environment downtown, out here in a totally white community, and then going back every day. So that was, and that's why I call it that. I mean, we were no bigger than we were. But I always call it the womb. Where else is there such protection?
Yeah.
And were we prepared by living in that womb? Well, we didn't know what, no one would have known what to prepare us for. You, even with your own children, you would not know what to, your 4-year-old, you wouldn't know what to prepare him for in his life. He could be president someday, but then again, who knows, you know.
The last question. I just want to get a general impression about your memory in the greenhouse. If let you use a color to describe greenhouse.
If I did a color?
Yeah, if you use a color to describe.
Well, it's green.
It's green.
You know, through the years, it's always green. It's just always green.
Okay.
Like I say, it was a great place. You know what? You know what? I'm happy about several things about this interview. Bobby knows who I am. But what if I would go to my grave with the information that I just told you? Isn't that sad? And it can't happen. You have got to tell what you know. And Larry and Connie and all of us. And I don't know who else or how many more you have to talk to. But we all, I can't imagine anybody that, Jackie Noble has good stories to tell. Listen, Jackie Krebs was her maiden name. I've often said, you know, the worst thing that ever happened in Greenhills was Jackie Krebs smoked. Is that not bizarre? She smoked cigarettes, real cigarettes. Now that's the worst that a teenage girl would do. I just think it's so funny. That's just how times were. Have you talked, well, I don't know how Stuart Buchanan is. Do you have other people to talk to? Stuart Buchanan? No. Okay. I don't know how.
I guess we have a happy ending. Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Oh, yes, yes.
Thank you.
If you need